Hey, Mommy. Welcome to the Mami Collective Podcast. I'm Paulina Rowe, and this is your space, the no BS, all vibes podcast for ambitious moms who know that motherhood and big dreams go hand in hand. Whether you're killing it in the boardroom, hustling on your side gig, or just trying to get through the day without reheating your coffee for the third time, and yes, girl, we've all been there, this is the place for you. We're here to flip the script on the whole you can't have it all narrative, because spoiler alert, you can. Motherhood doesn't dim your ambition, it actually fuels it. And we're going to talk all about it, the wins, the struggles, and the moments that make you say, damn, I am really doing this. So buckle up, boo. We're diving into real talk, inspiration, and the occasional hot take to keep you fired up and thriving. This is the Mami Collective. Let's do this. So we're going to dive into our combo because I have Ana Belaval here. How are you?
I'm doing great, Paulina. It's great to see you.
So nice to see you. Thank you for doing this with me. I've been trying to get you on since I think before day one, before I even launched it. I'm like, I have to get you on the podcast.
I think so.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah. But babies get sick and life happens, but here we are.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited.
I love everything you're doing with the Mami Collective. I know you were with Lourdes on Adelante, and I think it's just so wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been so cool to have the support. And honestly, I couldn't do it without the support of other moms. You know what I mean? Obviously, you and I, we'll get into you because this is all about you today. We work in media. So I think it's to me, it's so amazing and beautiful to be able to be a mom in this era and then have moms like you, yourself. And like you said, Lourdes Duarte, and I'm going to talk to Tanya Babich next week as well. So it's so cool to be able to connect with other media moms, and see how you guys are still killing it while, doing motherhood, doing the damn thing.
Yeah. Doing the damn thing. Yeah.
Doing the damn thing. And it's a damn thing, okay? I always say this is the hardest job I ever had.
The hardest, yeah.
But first things first, Anna, I would love for you to kind of introduce yourself to the audience, I guess, for those who, there's not many, who don't know who you are, but as far as who you are, what you do, all of your titles, all that good stuff.
Maybe people my age don't know who I am. Maybe people your age don't know who I am because I've been in this business for almost 30 years. I came to Chicago from San Juan, Puerto Rico. That's where I was born and raised. I came to college in Washington, D.C. Then went back home and couldn't find a job there as a reporter. I had interned with Univision and I called my mentor and she's like, they're looking for reporters in Chicago. And I'm like, well, let's go to Chicago. And I came here almost 30 years ago when I was 21. I just turned 50. So a lot of people know me as Ana Belaval because I had a very long career, not as long as the one I've had in GN, but I had a very long career in Spanish TV at Univision. I worked at the local station, Noticias Univision Chicago, for 6 years. Then I went to New York as the network correspondent for Despierta America for 3 years. And I've been in WGN for 19 years. I host a segment called Around Town every morning on WGN Morning News, which is the most popular morning show here in Chicago on TV, not on radio. And, I also am a stand-up comedian, bilingual stand-up comedian. I do stand-up in English, Spanish, and Spanglish. And I own a little brand called Estoy Cute, which is a saying that I started a few years ago. Anytime, Robin on the air would tell me, oh my God, you look so cute today. And I'm like, yeah, I know, estoy cute. Because my mom always told me that the first compliment should come for yourself. And I grew up in a house where my mom would tell my dad, look how guapa me veo. And my dad would be like, oh yeah, you look really nice. My mom would always, when she was in her feels, that doesn't mean she didn't have insecurities. She had, pero cuando ella se veía linda, she was like, damn, I look good. And I grew up with that. So I do that. I love it. And so I started that, and then I'm a keynote speaker. I don't like to say that I'm a motivational speaker because I keep it very real. And so I think a lot of it is hard work, and I'm just going to give it to you as it is. So I don't know if I end up being motivational, but I love doing that. I love sharing my story with other other people, especially people in our community, in the Latino community. And I am also, and this is the type of mom I am. I should have said that I have 2 children, ages 17 and 11, and I've been married for 23 years on December 2nd. But
Ooh.
I kind of gave you the chronological order of my life right there.
Facts. No, and you say you don't want to call yourself a motivational speaker, but like I get what you're saying, but I disagree, because when I was on a panel with you, you and I did a panel, shout out to Verizon.
Yes.
They're amazing. I got to know your story, obviously very personal, one-on-one, we got to talk and stuff. And to me, I felt like there was a lot of inspirational moments just listening to your story. Literally from like your career transition, right, to like moving here. You made, you shared stories as well about like, being a mom and stuff, and how you kind of had to like juggle that and that feeling, right, of the mom guilt and all of that, which we'll definitely dive into. And you're so vulnerable to share that. Is that also too why you kind of pursued comedy? Because I always say I'm very self-deprecating. It's my own thing. I laugh at me before you could laugh at me. That's just how I am.
It's a defense mechanism. It's a survival mechanism, and it's just what makes me laugh. I'm self-deprecating. I try not to punch down, although I grew up in a family where we make fun of everyone within our family and ourselves. And so, yes, that's why I pursued comedy. My comedy is very autobiographical. And you won't find out what I think about life or what I think about other people's habits, but you'll find out about what I think about my family and motherhood and marriage and my personality navigating 2 cultures. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely resonate a lot with you because like you said, like the cultural aspect, motherhood, marriage. And I love that you keep it real, because I'm going to be honest, like sometimes I'll go on social, right, and I'll see whether it's like a friend of mine or like a public figure, and I'm just like scrolling through their stuff, and I'm like, but are we being honest today? Are we being honest? And this, you got to share all the bad and this and that, because there's good and bad in life, of course, right? Balance. But I like to be authentic is the word, and I think people get that from you. They do.
Oh, thank you. That's what I try to do. I respect my family very much, so they're always in the joke. What we post has been approved by my children and my husband, and I usually repeat it immediately after it happens. So if my husband's trying to have a serious conversation and I'm dancing Daddy Yankee around him, I'll be like, oh my God, that would be great. Let's do it again. And he's game for it. But if we're having a serious discussion, no, that's off limits. If I can talk about my daughter's mental health and my mental health, but I'm not going to turn on the camera when the kid is having an anxiety attack or a panic attack. That's not who I am. We'll talk about it afterwards. I'll include it in the conversation. I'm going to be honest with you, Paulina. I have suffered from FOMO, and I have suffered from feelings of inadequacy ever since I've been on social media. Before, all I had to deal with was people on the phone calling the station, and the receptionist maybe leaving a voicemail that I suck, that I look fat, that they should have hired someone without an accent, all those awful things people can say. Your voice is annoying, all of that. You pick. Now they have immediate access to us, and I have direct access to it. I can see it every day, and people are very cruel. And a lot of my friends are able to dismiss them as losers at their mom's basement. Takes me a little while to do that, because I focus on the negative, and then I go, oh, maybe they're right. I do have a really annoying voice. I should lower the tone of voice, that kind of thing. So I struggle with that because of social media. And I also struggle with the goals as a family, as a couple. My husband and I are raising a teenager and an 11-year-old boy, and that is a challenge in and of itself. And some years our marriage is better than others. And there's times where people are writing these gorgeous things about their spouses, and I'm like, God, I can't even, I couldn't write that right now, because we are trying to just make it to the next weekend without these kids driving us crazy, or without a kid interjecting in our talk, or without, whatever. So then I realized a month later, those people are divorcing, or I have dinner with those people and they don't get along that way. Same thing in the summer. Everyone would go to Europe. Everyone goes to Greece. Everyone takes their kids in these amazing trips. And it's not jealousy. It's almost like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not taking these trips? And I remember growing up, and I would tell my dad, and my dad had a really good job with Bacardi Corporation. And I would be like, Dad, why aren't you driving a BMW? So-and-so's driving a blah, blah, blah. Because you would see it, and I went to a fancy school. And my dad's like, because all those people owe it. All those people can't afford that car. I can afford this car. And this is the car I have to have. And so that is something that I think social media has put out there, and it's harder to control. And I'm a 50-year-old lady. Imagine my 17-year-old daughter, my 11-year-old son. He's not on social media, but my daughter is. So all of that, as a grown adult, is hard to navigate. You want it vulnerable? There it is. Imagine for a kid.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that, because it is hard. It is so hard with social media. And I think about that. Your children are 17 and 11. I have a 7-month-old, almost 8 months, right? And I'm like, where is social media going to be by the time she gets her hands on a phone or whatever,
Hopefully it has disappeared.
That would be beautiful.
I'm hoping it goes full circle. It's been great for my business. It's been great to keep in touch with long distance family. I live away from a lot of people that I've been able to reconnect with and check out how they're doing. But the people that I wanted to stay in touch with are on my text, like I have their phone numbers. They're part of my life. But for work, it has been an amazing tool. I've gotten great stories. I've met fantastic people. It's awesome to have that contact and that reward of people who are watching you and listening to you. But otherwise, I think it has created a confusing life and a very dangerous life for our youth. I sound like a grandma. And for us too,
For sure. Yeah, I get anxiety. I get all of that too. I'm not gonna lie though, that's just so bad. Sometimes the clapback queen, they call them, you clap back or whatever. I'm not gonna lie, I'm so bad.
You've answered?
Oh yeah. But they say, who said this? It was Michelle Obama, right? She goes, when they go low, when they go high, right? Whatever.
When they go low, we go high.
Well, Paulina takes it to hell.
Listen to me.
Bad. I'm bad. I'm so bad.
That's the Latina in you. And that is why I stay quiet. The only time you will see me quiet is when I'm mad or upset. Right now we're dealing, my daughter goes to a high school with an amazing performing arts program, and they're trying to take it away. And we're really fighting for it as parents. And in those parents meetings, I just sit there and listen, because I can get very agitated and excited when I'm upset. And so I am quiet when let's say Larry makes one of those comments that make me upset. He knows, because I'm just quiet, because whatever comes out of this mouth is going to be from 787 San Juan, Puerto Rico. Classy, but it's going to be harsh. Yeah.
I know. And that's what I need to do. I need to kind of fall back. Because at the end of the day, it's like you're fighting with an egg, right? It's a troll, it's an egg, it's whatever. Yeah. It's never someone, a decent human being. A decent human being isn't doing that, if we're being completely honest. You know what I mean?
I did it the other day. This guy was like, when I did Zanies, some people on their page were like, why are you bringing her? She's so annoying. Or someone on the WGN Morning News comments said, oh my God, I muted when she's on. She's really annoying. And I wrote, yes, I am. And the person goes, yes, you are. And I'm like, oh, see, this is why I don't reply. Because I don't want to get in an argument with you.
I know. And at the end of the day, it's you know what I mean? I don't understand it. I don't think I've ever had the urge to respond to somebody, whether I like them or not, you know what I mean? Or like comment on their stuff. I mean, like, I don't think I've ever had that inside of me. I don't know if you have. I don't think so.
I don't.
Where I'm just, no. And I'm talking like, like if I'm making this up, if I see Kim Kardashian posting or doing something, what I do is I take what I like and I leave the rest, like a buffet.
That's the best way to say it. I think that we are there's a saying in Spanish, calladito te ves más bonito. They usually use it for women, but it should apply to everybody. If you don't have anything nice to say, then it's not for you, and move on. It's not affecting your life.
100%. Yeah. And clearly it's not going to affect what I'm doing. Just for anyone listening who thinks it does. It does not change a thing. Oh. I'm being completely honest. No, I love it. I love your transparency. I love your vulnerability, all of that as well. So really quick, I wanted to talk about kind of like, your place in media. So do you feel that your Puerto Rican heritage, because you're a proud Puerto Rican, like, has it influenced your approach to journalism and comedy being here in Chicago? Because we have obviously a huge population, very proud.
Yeah. I think that my favorite audience is a bilingual audience when I am doing comedy. I love it. That's why I've worked with Michael Kendo a lot, because he usually has bilingual audiences. And I write material in English that wouldn't work in Spanish, and material in Spanish that wouldn't work in English. Like Shakira. She writes 2 songs. She doesn't translate them. Ahí está. A little thing I'm giving you right there. I mean, it's the same song, but she doesn't translate verbatim. So sorry. I think it's been an incredible advantage. It's the reason I found a job in the third market in the country when I was 21, because I was fluent in Spanish. I could read and write it, and I could find a job as a reporter at a top market. It's the reason embracing it has helped me find my superpower and my uniqueness, makes me stand out from other news reporters. I feel like Puerto Ricans, and I want to say Caribbean people, but I should say all Latinos, we're very passionate. I think the more South you are, the calmer they are. But when above the equator and below, we're nuts. And we're very passionate. We have a lot of joy of life, and Puerto Ricans are very welcoming people. We want to learn about you. We want you to learn about us. We want to bring you into our family's house. We want you to meet our mom. So that approach has helped me a lot in journalism. Somos unos chismosos. We're super curiosos. And as a culture, we're in everybody's business. So I think it's helped a lot. Thankfully, I don't deny that, I probably have I've been probably stereotyped and pigeonholed and all that, but I'm very happy with the path that my career has taken. And I attribute a lot of it to the authenticity, which includes my cultural authenticity. Yeah.
So then what was your shift like when, you moved from the Spanish language media, right, to English? Like, what was that like? I mean, did you feel like, okay, I got this? Were you more like shy? Because I feel like at the end of the day, like, yes, it's media, but I do think there's a difference. I don't know, the storytelling, from what I see, I can turn my TV on. To me, it's like 2 different worlds almost.
We are very long format in Spanish. A headline in my old morning show was 45 seconds. And my executive producer, when we used to do headlines, was like, Ana, it's just 10 seconds. I'm Ana Belaval. I'm here. I'll have more coming up. Do not talk more. Wow. And also, I was very worried about my accent. I was very worried about making sure that I wouldn't break into Spanish. So the more tired I am, that's why I barely do things at night on weeknights. The more tired I am, the harder it is for me to switch my disc. My first language is Spanish, and I learned English from kindergarten. So I'm fluent, but Spanish is my mother tongue. So that's the default. So I have to make sure that I'm spry and awake. And at the beginning, I had a friend who was multilingual, and he told me, make sure that when you start your day, all you listen to is English, so that's what's fresh in your head. Do not listen to Spanish music. Do not listen to Spanish radio. Don't call your mom. Just speak in English. Have all that English coming to you first thing in the morning, because that's where your head should be. And that helped a lot. Now, after so many years, I can take the chance, right? And my coworkers, I couldn't have ended up in a better place. I don't know if I would have been at ABC or NBC, and no disrespect. I mean, we're talking almost 20 years ago. They wouldn't have been able to tolerate my style, or they wouldn't have understood it. Whereas my anchors, my coworkers immediately embraced it and were like, do not worry about your accent. And if I mispronounced a word, they laughed, but it was in a loving way. My camera woman, Mary, has always helped me. Like, I'll ask her how to pronounce a word. She will tell me in the sweetest way, hey, it's this way, not that way, without making me feel bad. And like Pat Tomasula would always tell me, I do a lot of comedy with Pat. And Pat's like, you shouldn't have a chip on your shoulder about this. You have an accent because you speak 2 languages. We only speak 1. What is your problem? But I think it's that hang up that they've always treated us, people with a Spanish accent, as lesser than. If I had a British accent, everyone would find me adorable and smart. But because of my Spanish accent, it has always had connotations that are lesser than. And we're trying to change that because it's a beautiful accent.
It is extremely. I mean, I love to hear you speak. And I think I resonate with you a lot when I see you, like when I'm home in the mornings, if I'm able to write, I'm not at work, then I'm able to watch you guys. And to me, like, I don't know, I resonate more with somebody like you than somebody maybe who does speak 1 language. And maybe it's because you're familiar. I don't know. To me, it resonates a lot. And I love it. I really give you a lot of just all your flowers for that, because it is hard. You know, it is very difficult. Like, yeah, my mom, I mean, my mom is Polish, and she speaks Polish. She spoke English, obviously coming here and everything. And she still has a very thick accent. To me, I don't hear it because I'm just so used to her, you know, but everybody else does. And I just give her so much credit, because I'm like, you came to a country where you didn't speak a lick of it. And in order to learn, in order to try, you had to speak. You know what I mean? So when I think of her experience here in America and having to like learn that, and probably the people who, you know, she wasn't on TV, but people who probably had made comments, you know, to her that were completely disrespectful, completely out of pocket, but like to still continue to learn, continue to still show up, right? Obviously she wanted me to learn, and my sister, and, you know, English is also my, I guess, second, third, whatever language. It's wild to me to think that, you know, that there's still people who think like that or have comments like that. Because if anything, it's a superpower. You speaking Spanish is a superpower. Yeah. You can talk to 2 different worlds, 2 different audiences. You know, I
see the world in 2 different ways. I really do. Yeah. So, and I think that's just wonderful.
No, I couldn't agree more. That is a superpower. That isn't something that should, you know, bring me down, because it's not. If anything, it's gonna bring me up. Yeah. You literally can speak to different audiences. I love that. And I think that's so important. Yeah. Did you teach your kids Spanish? Is that very important to you as well?
I'm trying. My daughter is almost fluent. So I hired a nanny who only spoke Spanish, spoke no English. That helped a lot with Amelia being fluent, because she was more than a nanny. She's like my surrogate mom, my kid's surrogate grandmother. I don't have family here, or I didn't. Now I have some cousins, and my niece lives here now. But when the kids were little, I just relied on her, and she's part of our family. She still is. So Amelia learned to speak Spanish, and beautiful Spanish, because Vilma's Colombian. And then, she's great, and she's taking Spanish in high school and all of that. My son doesn't speak it, understands it, same nanny. Just so same person. Wow. And Alex refused to speak it. And, but for him is the language of love. It's the language of mommy. It's the language of his abuelos and of Mima. That's what we call our babysitter. She's doesn't work with us anymore, but she's in our life. And so for him, it was never like, oh, don't speak around anybody that language. For both of them, it's a sense of pride, which I feel very lucky. So he's very cute. He's on Duolingo trying to learn Spanish. And I'm like, oh, Lord. And, but it's harder than I thought it would be. So those people that I judged before, my apologies. It's even harder when you have a husband who doesn't speak the language. Yeah. So, but I'm hoping that they really apply themselves when they're older.
Yeah, no, and I love that you said that, because I was, kind of thinking about that too for my daughter. I want her to speak fluent Spanish. I want her to learn. I mean, she's 8 months old. She doesn't really talk anything right now, but I want her to learn now, because I don't want her to be like me, where she struggled in her teens. And you know what I mean? And then she had to like reteach herself, or I just don't want that for her. I want it to be so natural. And I want her to do it now, as you know what I mean, or at this young age, as opposed to like 3.
Amelia has lost a lot of her, language. But as soon as she's in Puerto Rico for a little while, it comes back, and she talks in her sleep in Spanish sometimes.
No.
And she'll use these Puerto Rican terms that when we were in Puerto Rico, and she'll say them, my friends will be like, oh, she's fluent. This is beautiful. Like and she likes to speak it. She ran into a lot of friends, especially in middle school, who didn't want to speak Spanish to her.
Really?
My daughter is half Puerto Rican, half Jewish, and she is white, right? So her Mexican friends and friends who were first, second generation were like, stop. Because, and I always told her, these kids have to help their parents survive if the parent doesn't speak English. So they don't want to deal with it at school. You know, they don't want to stand out because of that. You find it fun because I make it fun. But for them, if they have to go and translate for their parents at the doctor's, or if they have to go and, you know, do certain things for their parents because they don't speak the language, they may not like that. And so, and she gets a lot of crap because she's only half Puerto Rican, and she is just like, she's very proud of being Latina, and everywhere she goes, she talks about it. And Latinos themselves have been like, girl, you're white. And it hurts her feelings. So those are struggles that your daughter may go through as well. But she doesn't care. She's like, I am who I am. And you know, it's, I live my life the way and we live a very, I'm obnoxiously Puerto Rican, so I'm raising them. I'm raising them the way I was raised. So,
yes, no, I like I said, I love it, and I do agree, because I struggle with that. What you just mentioned, your daughter goes through. So I completely understand her perspective, and I'm older than her, but I get it. So I'm scared that for my daughter too, especially like, it's like, I don't know, like damned if she does, damned if she doesn't, right?
That's it.
And it's so frustrating because sometimes it like really be our own people. And I'm like, okay, but like, what if she's trying to speak Spanish? Or what if she's, speaking Spanish, so like, you know, maybe she doesn't look Hispanic to you, whatever. I mean, to me, it blows my mind, because truthfully too, in our culture, we all look different. Like, you are Puerto Rican, but you can look different than somebody else from the island.
Yeah.
Completely
absolutely.
Different. So
within my cousins. My sister-in-law is dark skinned, and my niece is as pale as I am. And in Puerto Rico, people are like, is that your daughter? And shocked. And you're like, are you kidding me? We come in all colors and sizes. I have a friend 100%. Who's blonde and blue-eyed, my friend Laura. She has Spanish family, not because everyone thinks she's like Nordic or from the States. And no, her parents are from Spain. But they've been in Puerto Rico for centuries now. So, yeah.
But see, exactly. Speaking of your kids, you know, obviously, like, you hold the title of mother, like, you know, very, very close and dear to your heart, because you're an amazing mom. So what was it like being a media mom, right? Like doing this job, right? Obviously, like, working on your career, you know, when you first had your daughter 17 years ago, where were you at, like, in your career? And were you ever questioning it? Like, I can't do both? Or were you always like, no, I'm going to do both, period?
I waited a long time. I wasn't going to have kids Then I waited 7 years. We were married 7 years before I got pregnant with Amelia, and it was super planned. I am type A, anal retentive. Everything is planned. I have a very hard time not being able to control things. And so I waited, and I had my daughter when I was 33 and my son when I was 38. I don't regret it one bit. My husband may regret it because my husband's 6 years older than me. Okay. But he didn't meet this fabulousness till he was 30. And he was warned and he was told that, I was following my career and he had to be on my schedule. And God bless him, he is. And so my two kids are almost 6 years apart, and that's a lot. I don't regret it. I'm a better mom because I waited. I'm a better mom because financially we were better. Emotionally, we were stronger. And still, it threw me off. I had postpartum blues. I cried for 6 weeks. It has been the hardest thing I've ever done. It is the most demanding job. And I don't think it's for everybody. I needed my job after having my children, not only financially, I needed it emotionally, because I realized that type A control freak couldn't control a child, couldn't read these books and then apply it all, that our children were not, I needed to be flexible. And they taught me that flexibility. They taught me patience. That unconditional love that a child gives you is like nothing else. And the way you love that person where it hurts is like nothing else. It is fantastic. But I don't blame people who don't necessarily need it in their lives, or yearn for it. I can totally relate. I didn't. Have my children completed me as a woman? No, I was already complete. They have added. They have made me a different person. They have made me a better person, but I have fantastic friends who don't want to have children. And I think it's been wonderful, but yeah, I did it when I wanted to and with that timing, and I don't regret it because it was a lot for me to handle.
Yeah, I love that you're so transparent about this too, because I don't think we talk about that enough, to be completely honest. Like I always say, like, obviously, yes, like my life will be, right, a form of complete. My daughter just added to it, you know what I mean? And like, there were times too where I was like, I know I want kids, I just didn't know when. Mm-hmm. So it kind of happened, and I'm so glad that it did. But if I could be honest and transparent too, like, I only want one for this reason, because I'm realizing how hard it is. It's freaking hard. And I also just know that I want to like still do a lot with my career and just like other things. Right. And I just want to thrive in every space that I'm in, because it's all important to me, and she's important to me too. And I want to give her everything. And I know you have 2 kids, and I think about this a lot, and maybe I'll change, maybe in 6 years, I'll change my mind too. You know what I mean?
I had convinced my husband we were only having one. Convinced him. He's like, perfect. This is figured out. We're great. Everything was. And then something happened at like 36. And I was like, I think she should have a sibling. I want to have another one. And honestly, I don't regret it, because I was a lot more chill when he was born. And it was a very different bonding with him. And he is mama's little boy. It's fantastic. But, she was going to be one, and I totally understand how 2 changes the dynamic. And I'm going to tell you something. I didn't lose my ambition when she was born. I still wanted to do things. That's when I auditioned for The View. That's when, like I started stand up. I started doing all these things. When Alex was born, then I had tried those things, right? And when I went and didn't feel comfortable and missed them and realized this is not for me, it was more about, I don't like this. First, I don't want to live away from them. And second, I don't like the environment here. And that's it. But I don't think you lose your ambition. There are things that are not as attractive to you anymore. And there are sacrifices that you're not going to do because you would rather be with your kids because they need you.
I 100% agree. I think it's about the sacrifice, the balance. But you know what's funny too? Even right before I had my daughter, I kind of got into like the no era, where I wasn't doing things that wasn't like really serving me anymore. Like you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I'm grateful for every opportunity. And I know you are too. Like, that's how we just are as women, as Latinas. That's how we are. And I'm so grateful for every opportunity. But I had to be selective even before her because I started getting very drained.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I gotta chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pick her up. See, this is parenting. My husband works from home, which is a blessing. And he just went, do I need to pick her up? And I'm like, yes, you pick her up. I pick him up.
Yeah. Boom. Pick her up and I pick him up. See,
Yeah.
parenting in 2024.
Yeah, no, and it's true. And I had a stay-at-home mom, who encouraged me not to be one. So I think that's why I grew up this way, right? And I believe in these things. I think women, and I think I said it when we spoke before, I think women need to have their own source of income, even if it's making flan at home, if it's an Etsy store, if it's working the counter, at Walgreens part-time. As my cousin kept her nutritionist license and would work part-time, because when these kids become teens, you become a moron. All you do is take them from point A to point B. You're there when the hits the fan, and then you need to be out of the way, right? My daughter and I have a great relationship, so that doesn't happen. But if I didn't have work to be amongst adults and do something that I love and I know how to do and have that income, it would be very hard. And so
I agree.
I think that I've also become very particular to what I say yes to, because you also have to give yourself some flowers. And there are other generations of Latinas that should be getting these opportunities. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I can't be your go-to Latina all the time for every panel, especially because if you're talking to a younger generation of teenagers, of college students, my route is not their route anymore. I can talk to you guys who are in it already. I can talk to maybe, other people like that, but it's hard for me to go talk to teenagers because those teens have other opportunities that I didn't have, or don't watch news, so they couldn't care less about what I do, And so that's harder. And I think we have to give the opportunity to a younger generation to get out there and share their story.
I never even thought of it like that, but that's so true. Mm-hmm. That is very true. And you just got to be selective too.
It can't be the three. It can't be Lourdes, me, and I don't know, Natalie Martinez. We have to branch out. There's you. There's Tanya Babich. There's Sandra at Channel 2, and a lot more people. So it really is important that girls and boys hear from you guys who are still doing it. I was very current in the early 2000s. But as soon as the internet came around and the smartphones came around, it's a different ballgame.
100%. Yeah, it's definitely a different time. Mm-hmm. It's wild, but I guess we're just trying our best to get with the times. At least I am, because like you said, the path that I hear you to get into radio. Mm-hmm. Even to get into radio is so different than my path already was very untraditional, but hearing what people do now and just how different the industry is, it's very different than what I know it to be. So things are changing, and I'm just here for the ride. So before I let you go, I definitely want to ask one more question for you, right? Reflecting on your journey and everything that, you've accomplished, which is truly a lot and different, which I love that about you. It's the comedy, it's, the media, the news, right? It's motherhood. It's a lot. There's a lot of layers to you. Looking ahead though, are there any goals or aspirations that are to come, maybe still in comedy or journalism, or is there something else that you're working on or you see yourself doing?
I'm going to manifest it because there's a generation that believes in manifesting, but they always say I don't manifest the right way.
I'll teach you. I love it.
I would love to have a talk show. I would love to have a podcast, but I need someone to produce it. If there's anyone who needs a podcast host. I tried to do that with my Wednesday wines, and it was very hard to be the one who booked it, put all the equipment together, do it from my home. I was doing it at 5 p.m. on a Wednesday. Kids were coming in and out, and then soccer changed to 5 p.m. and therapy changed to 5 p.m. So, I just couldn't do it. And so if I could find that outlet, I would love to do that. I would love to continue traveling with my stand-up in Spanish and in English and do that combo. The other day I did something with Latino wealth managers in San Diego. They have an organization and they had a conference, and I did 15 minutes of stand-up, and then I did a fireside chat like I did with you. I love that. So I would love to do those things. So I'm going to put them out there. Like
I don't think you're manifesting wrong. You speak it.
Speaking.
Into existence.
I've spoken to Mira, nena, I have spoken into existence. I wanted to be the host of the Today Show. I wanted to be in Good Morning America. The phone never rang, so I created my own path. But I still ended up with my dreams coming true. So,
and that's manifestation. It's supposed to be what you want, or something better is coming to you. That's how it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it has worked that way.
Period. I'm telling you, I'm a manifesting queen. I love it. I love the science behind it. I love it all. I mean, like, not to sound like a little bruja, but like, I literally got my husband because of a candle. Like, I really did. I know. I met him. I lit a candle and I did this whole thing, and he came into my life. It was wild. It was
That's
wild.
So cute.
Crazy.
I know.
Don't tell nobody. Oh my God. So, Anna, where can we follow you for obviously seeing you in the morning? And then where can we follow you on social media?
You can follow me on WGN Morning News, of course. And then you can follow me on Instagram at Ana, that's Ana with one N, .Belaval, because my sobrina told me that I needed the dot to look cooler. And then you can follow me on Facebook. And you can follow me on TikTok, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I have a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel's kind of dormant, but if you want to just check what's there, that's great. I just don't have the time. It's a lot of work, Paulina. When you said that this helps you edit for social media and all that, I'm like, that's awesome. I would love to do more things, but the solo part, it's what's really hard. And also, girl, investing your own money into this stuff, that's another thing that you have to put money to get money. Y yo soy medio tacaña. So, like, I have to rent the theater, pay the t-shirts, and then see if they sell. So that's a lot, for one person. But that's where you can find me.
I love it. And like, keep manifesting, keep working. I think at the end of the day, I think you'll be able to do more than you think you can. I know it's hard. I know it's a lot of work. We work full time. We're moms. It's a lot to like have these other personal projects. But like you said, don't be afraid to invest in yourself. And that's kind of where I'm at. I was like, you know what? I'm going to eat the bullet, bite the bullet, whatever the bullet. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make it happen.
And I have to tell you something. You have a lot of help, which is great. And your baby is a baby right now. And it's when they get older, they can tell you when they miss you. They can tell you, why are you going again? It gets harder. There are moments in life where they're going to need you more and they're going to need you less. Right now, my 17-year-old needs me to drive her everywhere. She knows now that she has to get her license, but we are searching for colleges. We are dealing with, her anxiety and all that. The 11-year-old has soccer, has basketball, has this, has that. Thankfully, I have a partner who will just do it with no problem. And the kids are used to it. And there's some of the everyday that I don't leave home for more than 5 days to go see my parents, to go work. Or if when I was hired to do something in San Diego, I did 24 hours. So you can do it. And, but you, like you said, you already learned how to say no. So you're selective, and you make sure that you are given your flowers, that you are not, that you are paid what you're worth, for what you're doing. Because the time with your family, the time with your family is golden and priceless and fleeting.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Also with your parents. Also with your parents. Because I have old parents, and I'll go home at a drop of a hat. I've learned that because, this is it. We're at the end, right? Mm-hmm. So,
oh my God,
I got morbid.
You kind of did, right? But no, it's real. It's so real, and these are all parts of life, and it's just reality. That's the reality of it. So I appreciate that message. I do. So Ana, thank you so much for your time today. We're going to catch you WGN News around town with you as well, and then on your social media. So we'll follow you there. Everybody, make sure to follow.
Yes.
Love
Thank
it.
you,
Thank
Paulina.
you.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you.